I'm 91 years old, and I'm going to tell you something that might save your marriage. My wife and I slept in separate beds for the last 23 years of our lives together. And those were the happiest 23 years we ever had. Now, before you judge me, before you think we gave up on love or intimacy or each other, let me tell you what really happened. Because what I'm about to share goes against everything you've been taught about what a good marriage looks like. My name is Harold. I was a postal worker for 41 years in a small town outside of Cleveland. Married my Eleanor in 1956, right after I came back from Korea. We were married for 62 years before she passed. 62 years. And I'll tell you something. The first 39 of those years, we nearly destroyed each other. Not with fighting, not with affairs, not with any of the dramatic things you see in movies. We nearly destroyed each other with something much quieter. We destroyed each other with exhaustion. You see, Eleanor was a light sleeper. The kind of person who could hear a pin drop 3 rooms away. And me? I snored like a freight train. Always have. My father did. His father did. It's in the blood, I suppose. Every single night for 39 years I would fall asleep, start snoring, and Eleanor would lie there next to me, staring at the ceiling, getting angrier and angrier with every breath I took. She'd elbow me. I'd turn over. 5 minutes later, same thing. She'd shake me awake. I'd apologize, fall back asleep, start snoring again. This went on for decades. But here's what nobody tells you about sleep deprivation in a marriage. It doesn't just make you tired. It makes you mean. It makes you resentful. It makes you look at the person you love and feel something close to hatred. Not because you don't love them anymore, but because your body is so desperate for rest that it starts seeing your partner as the enemy. Eleanor started snapping at me over nothing. I started avoiding coming home because I knew I'd see that look in her eyes. That exhausted, disappointed look that said, "You did this to me again." We stopped touching each other. We stopped laughing together. We were roommates who shared a bed but shared nothing else. And here's the thing that breaks my heart to admit. I blamed her. I thought she was being dramatic. I thought she should just get some earplugs and deal with it. I thought she was using my snoring as an excuse to push me away. And she blamed me. She thought I wasn't trying hard enough. She thought if I really loved her, I'd find a way to stop. We were both wrong. We were both just exhausted. Then one night, in 1992, I woke up at 3 in the morning and Eleanor wasn't in bed. I found her downstairs on the couch, crying. Not the dramatic kind of crying, the quiet kind. The kind that comes from years of accumulated pain. She looked up at me and said something I'll never forget. She said, "Harold, I love you, but I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired that I can't remember the last time I felt like myself." That moment changed everything. The next week, we moved my things into the guest bedroom. We didn't tell anyone. Not our kids, not our friends, not our neighbors. We were ashamed. We thought it meant we had failed. Every magazine, every TV show, every piece of advice we'd ever gotten told us that happy couples sleep together, that separate beds meant a dead marriage, that we were giving up on intimacy. So we kept it a secret for years. But let me tell you what actually happened. Within a month, Eleanor was a different person. She was laughing again. She had energy again. She started reading books late into the night because she could. She started gardening again because she wasn't too tired to care. And me? I stopped feeling guilty every single night. I stopped waking up to that look of disappointment. I stopped feeling like a burden in my own marriage. We started having breakfast together and actually talking. We started going on walks in the evening because we both had energy. We started touching each other again, and I don't just mean that way, although yes, that too. I mean she would reach out and hold my hand while we watched television. She would lean her head on my shoulder. Small things that had disappeared years ago because we were both too exhausted and resentful to reach across the divide. Now, pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this is important. Separate beds did not mean we stopped being intimate. I know that's what everyone assumes. They think if you don't sleep in the same bed, you must have given up on physical closeness. That's nonsense. We became more intimate. We started visiting each other's rooms. And I don't mean that as some kind of joke. I mean we would knock on each other's door at night, and it felt exciting again. It felt intentional. When we were together, it was because we chose to be together, not because we happened to be lying next to each other out of habit. Intimacy became a decision, not an accident. And decisions mean more. Here's another thing nobody admits. When you're exhausted, you don't want to be touched. When you're resentful, you don't want to be close. So all those years we shared a bed, we were actually further apart than we ever were in separate rooms. The bed became a battlefield. Once we left the battlefield, we could finally find our way back to each other. I'm not saying this is the answer for everyone. Maybe you and your partner sleep perfectly fine together. Maybe you're one of those lucky couples where nobody snores, nobody steals the covers, nobody runs hot while the other runs cold. Nobody needs to get up 3 times a night to use the bathroom. If that's you, wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're lying in bed right now next to someone you love, feeling exhausted and resentful, and wondering where the connection went, listen to me. It might not be your marriage that's broken. It might just be your sleep. And I'll tell you something else that surprised us. Our kids, when we finally told them years later, they weren't shocked. Our daughter said, "Dad, we always wondered how you two got so happy after you retired." Now it makes sense. They had watched us transform from a tired, distant couple into 2 people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. They just didn't know why. The secret we were so ashamed of was the very thing that saved us. Eleanor passed away 4 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. It happened fast. 3 months from diagnosis to the end. In those final weeks, I moved a small bed into her room, and I slept beside her every single night. Not because we had to, but because I wanted to be near her. Because after 23 years of choosing each other from separate rooms, I wanted to choose her one last time in the same room, and she wanted the same. We had earned that closeness. It meant something because it was a choice, not an obligation. The morning she died, I was holding her hand. I hadn't slept more than an hour, and you know what? I didn't care. Because I wasn't exhausted from decades of resentment. I had energy stored up from 23 years of good sleep. I was present for her in a way I never could have been if we had kept torturing each other in that shared bed. I was there, really there, and she knew it. So here's what I want you to understand. The world will tell you that love means sacrifice, that good marriages require suffering, that if you really loved someone, you'd endure anything to be close to them. But that's not love. That's martyrdom. Real love means taking care of yourself so you can take care of each other. Real love means making practical choices that allow the relationship to thrive. Real love sometimes means saying, "I love you so much that I'm going to sleep in the other room so we can actually enjoy our waking hours together." It doesn't sound romantic. It sounds practical. But after 91 years on this earth, I can tell you that practical love lasts. Romantic gestures fade. Practical love builds a life. If you're out there right now, exhausted and resentful, and wondering what happened to the person you married, consider that the answer might be simpler than you think. Consider that you might be one good night's sleep away from remembering why you fell in love. Consider that the secret happy couples never admit is that they figured out how to prioritize rest without feeling ashamed of it. Tell me your story in the comments. I read every single one. Some of you will tell me I'm wrong, that separate beds killed your parents' marriage, that you could never do this. That's fine. But some of you will tell me that you've been thinking about this for years, and you were too scared to admit it. I want to hear from you especially. I want to know I'm not alone in this. If this meant something to you, subscribe. Do it for the person you'll be in 20 years. Do it because you deserve to hear what others have learned the hard way. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, a friend who complains about their partner's snoring, a sibling who seems exhausted all the time, share this with them before they spend another decade suffering in silence. Eleanor and I wasted 39 years. Don't do what we did. Don't let pride and expectations keep you trapped in a pattern that's breaking both of you. Sleep well. Wake up with enough energy to love the person beside you. That's all any of us really need.